Great. Let's really quickly take a look at just deleting a pizza. Let me just refresh this because I've been testing this before, so I want everything to look the same as it should. So what we want to be able to do is now actually just delete some pizzas from the database. It would be nice, I think, to have a little button here that says delete this pizza. Maybe we'll make it red. And then wouldn't it be nice to have some sort of little notification that comes up in the top corner maybe that says, hey, this pizza's now deleted. Well, we can do that with something called a toast. Now, a toast was kind of the concept of just a very small little pop-up that appears to give you some information, a little bit like toast coming out of a toaster. So what we can do is we can use something called React Toastify. And it's just another little package that we can install as part of our React application, and it will sort all of these kind of little toast notifications for us. So let's go and have a look. So here's the NPM site for React Toastify. And basically it's just a package that deals with these notifications. Now there's loads of different things that you can do with this. We're going to use the basic one, but I would recommend that you go and actually have a look at the documentation because it is really well done. You can do loads and loads of things with it. You know, you can put the position in different places on your screen. You can make it draggable. You can make it pause on hover. Loads and loads of different things. I'm just going to show you how to integrate it into our app to begin with. So first of all, I've put this link down in the description or underneath our video. Go ahead and just copy the npm I command here. So I'm just going to move this out of the way and go back to our code. Now it's up to you whether you stop your application or whether you create a new, you split your terminal. I'm just going to split my terminal here and paste in npm I react toastify. Yep, okay, that has now installed. So what we can do is let's make inside our pizza detail, what we're going to need is a function that deals with all of this for us. So just under here, I'm going to do it under the use effect. I'm going to say function delete pizza, and in here I'm just going to say console.log deleting pizza, just so that we know that it has worked. We'll have to make a button that actually does this for us. So let's scroll down to the bottom, and right underneath this edit link here, I'm going to make a button with delete this pizza, and we'll give this a class name of, oh, don't know what's happened there. Oh, my autocomplete has jumped in where it wasn't needed. So we'll say class name button and is dash danger. When we click this button, we're also going to need to run that function. Now we could do this with event listeners, but let's just do it using onClick. So this is onClick with an uppercase C. So onClick equals, and then some curly brackets, and then this will take a callback function of the delete pizza. Now do not put in brackets here. We're passing it the entire function, we're not invoking the function. So let's save that now and go to our pizza. You might need to go to all pizzas and then choose one. I'm just going to open up the console and just clear this. And then when we hit delete pizza, yeah, we get deleting pizza showing up in our console. Brilliant. We know that that function is going to run. So let's now work on our delete pizza function? Well, the first thing that we're going to need to do is actually make a call to the backend to say, hey, go and delete this pizza. We're making an Axios call, so it's going to have to be an asynchronous function. So we'll just change it, async function. And then we're going to make our Axios call. We are going to want to do some things with this because we're going to want to know if it's actually been deleted, if we got that 200 response back. So instead of just saying await axios.delete, we'll actually save this in a variable of response so that we can do things with it afterwards. So we'll say const response equals await Axios, and then we want to make a delete request. Go and have a look at the Pizzeria docs to make sure that we're doing this correctly, but you can trust me in this instance. So we'll say axios.delete, and then we want to make it to our URL / the ID of the pizza, and then we do need to add our student key to it, of course. Now, up here, we are actually kind of doing a call to our URL and then / the ID. So, do you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. We will need to add our student key to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in as a query string. So question mark, and then student underscore key equals, and then we'll put it in using the template literal, process.env and then React app student key, but I'm going to just go ahead and copy it directly from the env file. So process, make sure that you have spelt this exactly correctly. And save this. Okay, so let's see if that actually does delete things. So if I just refresh this page here and I say delete this pizza, okay, it's saying deleting pizza. Let's go back to, and let's see if we have as many Veginator pizzas as we did before. Okay, I can't really tell. Let's just choose, okay, let's go with this Buffalo edited because this is unique, so we know that it is going to work or not work. So delete this pizza, and then if I go back to our pizzas, we don't have that Buffalo edited anymore, so it is working. Fantastic. Let's get the notifications to work now. So what we want to do to get this toast to work, we need to do two things really. First of all, we need to actually import some things for our toasts to work. I'm going to just put these down in the text accompaniment to this video because it's quite a lot to import. But ultimately, we want to import the toast container component, our toast function from React Toastify, and then we also want to import the CSS that React Toastify will use. Go ahead and copy this from the text accompaniment because this is just straight out of the React Toastify docs anyway. So what we need to do is we need to add our Toastify component to our JSX, and we can do that anywhere. I'm just going to do it right down at the bottom here. So what we'll do is we'll say toast container, and then we'll just close this off like this because it doesn't need anything giving to it. We'll save that, and while the toast container doesn't actually appear until we tell it to, it is kind of there. It does kind of exist in our component. So now let's go and scroll up to our delete pizza component here, function here. And what we want to say is if our response went all okay, so if our response.status is equal to 200, well, then what we want to do is we want to have a toast, and we want it to say, well, let's say pizza has been deleted. So pizza has been deleted. Let's have this show for 2 seconds, and then let's actually navigate away from this page to our, to our all pizzas page. So we're going to need to use a set timeout and then also the navigate hook. So let's go ahead and from the React Router DOM, let's import our use navigate. We need to actually say up here, we need to say that const navigate equals use navigate. And then inside here, what we can say is set timeout and then this needs a anonymous function in it. And inside here, we will then say navigate. And where do we want to navigate to? Well, we just want to navigate to a string of /pizzas, because that'll be our pizza index then. How long do we want this to go for? Well, we want it to happen after 2000 milliseconds, so 2 seconds. You can make this whatever you want, but I think 2 seconds is probably enough time for them to see our toast. So let's save this now. Head to here. I'm just going to refresh the page to make sure everything's as it should be. And then let's say delete this pizza. Pizza has been deleted. And then we get navigated. Wonderful. And you'll see that it has actually been deleted. Wouldn't it be good is if something goes wrong and it doesn't delete the pizza, we instead say here, else toast is something went wrong. And then if we don't get that 200 back, we'll end up with a toast that says something went wrong. Have a play with this and go and have a read of the React Toastify docs to see if you can get those toasts to show up in different styles, maybe with a little swirling timer rather than the countdown bar. There's loads of things that you can do with it, so get creative.